According to animal behaviorists, some of your most normal everyday habits are quietly hurting your cat. But do you actually know which ones? That's the scary part. Most of them feel completely harmless. And if you keep doing them, which almost every cat owner does, you could be slowly breaking your cat's trust, their health, and their sense of safety in their own home. Not overnight, not in some dramatic way you'd notice right away, but slowly, quietly, the kind of damage that adds up over months and years, until one day you're wondering why your cat seems distant, anxious, or just difficult. Here are 6 everyday things that hurt your cat way more than you think, plus one bonus mistake at the end that almost nobody talks about. 1. Screaming at them when they mess up. Have you ever caught your cat knocking something off the counter and immediately yelled their name? Be honest, most of us have done it. Your cat looks at you, knocks a glass off the table like it's testing gravity, and your voice just comes out before you can stop it. It feels like the right response in the moment. It feels like discipline. But here's what's actually happening inside your cat's brain when you raise your voice. Cats don't process cause and effect the way we do. When you yell 2 seconds after they've already jumped down and walked away, your cat isn't connecting the sound of your voice to the thing they did. They're only connecting it to whatever they're doing or looking at in that exact moment, which is usually you. A 2021 study from the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that cats who were regularly yelled at showed significantly higher levels of chronic stress and were more likely to develop behavioral problems like hiding, aggression, and even litter box avoidance. They're not learning, "I shouldn't do that." They're learning this person is unpredictable and unsafe. And that's the part that breaks my heart, because you're not trying to hurt them, you're just reacting. But your cat doesn't understand your intention. All they register is the volume, the tone, and the energy. And over time, that doesn't correct behavior. It quietly destroys the bond between you two. Think about it. If every time you walked into a room, someone randomly got loud and looming at you, how long before you started flinching every time they walked in? How long before you stopped wanting to be around them? That's exactly what your cat feels. And here's the part most people miss. Cats don't misbehave to spite you. When a cat knocks something off a table, in most cases they're testing an object's stability out of pure curiosity. An ancient instinct that checks whether something is prey-like or unstable, or they're just bored and looking for stimulation. Scratching furniture isn't rebellion. It's a biological need to shed the outer layer of their claws and mark territory. Meowing at odd hours isn't malice. It's usually an unmet need. Hunger, boredom, sometimes even a medical issue in older cats. So what should you actually do instead of yelling? Redirect, don't punish. If your cat's clawing the couch, calmly move them to a scratching post and reward them when they use it. If they're knocking things off counters, cat-proof the space and give them a real outlet, a windowsill perch, a cat tree, something that satisfies that same curiosity safely. Positive reinforcement and patience build trust. Fear-based reactions destroy it. And if you think that's hard to hear, wait until we get to the last one on this list, because there's one thing almost every owner does out of love that might actually be doing the most damage of all. 2. Never letting them hunt or chase. When was the last time your cat actually chased something? And no, staring at a fly from across the room doesn't count. Most indoor cats go days, sometimes weeks, without a single real hunting experience. And we don't even realise it, because they look fine, but they're not fine. Cats are hardwired predators. Their entire brain is built around the hunting sequence. Stalk, chase, pounce, catch, kill, eat. When that cycle never gets activated, something starts breaking down on the inside. A study published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that cats without regular play stimulation showed increased rates of obesity, aggression, overgrooming, and depression-like symptoms. So, that cat who just sleeps all day and seems low maintenance, there's a good chance they've just given up. They're not lazy. They're mentally starving. Here's something else rarely talked about. Unspent predatory energy has to go somewhere. If your cat isn't allowed to complete that hunting cycle through play, that energy often comes out sideways, as random zoomies at 2 a.m, as ambush attacks on your ankles in the hallway, as bursts of aggression that seem to come out of nowhere. Owners often call this the cat being crazy, when really it's a predator with no outlet doing the only thing its instincts know how to do. And the fix isn't complicated. Just 10 to 15 minutes a day of interactive play with a toy that mimics real prey movement can completely transform your cat's mood, energy, and connection with you. There's a right way to do this too. Don't just wave the toy around. Let it hide behind furniture. Let it move erratic, then still, then fast, the way real prey actually moves. And most importantly, let them win. End every session with an actual catch, where they get the toy in their paws and mouth. Without that final catch, the hunting cycle stays incomplete, and incomplete cycles are what build frustration over time. You'll start seeing a cat you didn't even know was in there. And before we jump to the next one, if this is making you rethink how you treat your cat, hit like and subscribe. It's the best way to help other cat owners see this too. 3. Only feeding them dry kibble. What if the food you've been giving your cat every single day is slowly dehydrating them from the inside out? Sounds dramatic, but it's not. Here's something most people don't know. Cats are desert animals. Their ancestors evolved to get almost all of their water from the prey they ate. That means your cat's natural instinct to drink water on their own is extremely low. They're just not built for it. So, when their entire diet is dry kibble, which contains about 10% moisture, they're living in a state of chronic low-level dehydration, and most owners never notice because the signs are so subtle. A study from the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association found that cats on dry-only diets had significantly lower total water intake compared to cats eating wet food, even when fresh water was freely available. Over time, that chronic dehydration puts serious pressure on their kidneys and urinary tract. It's one of the leading contributors to kidney disease in cats, which is the #1 cause of death in older cats. Here's why that matters so much. A cat's kidneys constantly filter waste from the blood, and that process depends on enough water flowing through to flush everything properly. When a cat is chronically underhydrated, urine becomes more concentrated, which raises the risk of crystals forming, of urinary tract infections, and of kidney tissue slowly breaking down over years with no obvious symptoms, until suddenly in their senior years it becomes a real emergency. And the frustrating part, it's so easy to prevent. You don't have to throw out the kibble entirely. Even mixing in some wet food a few times a week makes a massive difference. Some owners go further and add a little water to their cat's food to boost moisture without changing the taste much, or switch to a water fountain instead of a still bowl, since cats are instinctively drawn to moving water. You're basically giving their kidneys a fighting chance, just by changing one meal. 4. Petting them in all the wrong spots. Ever been petting your cat and out of nowhere they bite you and you're sitting there like, what did I do? Well, you probably touched the wrong button. Most owners pet their cats the same way they'd pet a dog. Long strokes down the back, belly rubs grabbing their tail area. And with dogs, that works great. But cats are wired completely differently. Their skin is loaded with nerve endings that go from pleasant to overstimulated in seconds. It's called petting, induced overstimulation, and it's one of the most misunderstood things in cat behaviour. A study from the University of Lincoln found that cats showed the lowest stress responses when touched around the cheeks, the base of their ears, and under the chin. But when owners focused on the belly or the base of the tail, stress hormones spiked almost immediately. So that belly your cat shows you, it's not an invitation, it's actually a sign of trust. And when you go in for the rub, you're betraying the exact trust they just offered you. That's why some cats seem hot and cold. One minute they're all over you, the next they're running away. It's not random. They were trying to enjoy the moment, and you accidentally overwhelmed their nervous system without knowing it. There's actually a pattern to how this escalates, and if you know what to watch for, you can stop it before it turns into a bite or a scratch. Cats give warning signs long before they react. A tail that starts flicking instead of resting still, ears that rotate sideways or flatten, skin that ripples along the back, or a sudden stillness where the purring stops but the body stays in place. Most bites don't come out of nowhere. They come after 2 or 3 ignored warnings. The fix is simple. Stick to the safe zones. Slow, gentle strokes around the head and cheeks. Let them lean into you. And the moment you see their tail start flicking or their ears flatten, stop. That's their way of saying, I love you, but that's enough. Respect it and watch how much longer they stay next to you. 5. Hiding the litter box in a corner. Where is your cat's litter box right now? Be honest. Is it tucked away in a basement, shoved behind the washing machine, or crammed into some dark closet? If it is, you might be the reason your cat is stressed every time they need to go. We hide litter boxes because we don't want to see them or smell them. Makes sense from a human perspective, but from your cat's perspective, you just put their bathroom in the scariest spot in the house. Cats are both predators and prey. That means every time they use the litter box, they're in one of their most vulnerable positions. They need to feel like they can see what's coming and escape if they need to. A box shoved in a tight dark corner with only one way out goes against every survival instinct they have. Research in applied animal behaviour science found that litter box placement and accessibility were among the top factors linked to elimination problems in cats. That means if your cat has been peeing outside the box, there's a real chance it's not a behaviour problem at all. It's a location problem. They're not being difficult. They're scared. There are a few other things most owners never think about too. Covered litter boxes trap odour inside, which to a cat with a far more sensitive nose than ours can feel overwhelming. Almost like being forced to use a bathroom that never gets cleaned. Boxes placed right next to loud appliances, washing machines, dryers, furnaces, mean your cat could get startled mid-use by a sudden noise. And cats remember that fear. Sometimes one scary incident in the litter box is enough for them to start avoiding it altogether and finding a quote-unquote safer spot somewhere else in the house. And here's the other mistake people make. 1 cat, 1 box. Behaviourists recommend the N+1 rule. That means 1 box per cat plus 1 extra. So, if you have 2 cats, you need 3 boxes in different areas of the house. Not lined up next to each other. It gives them options and reduces territorial tension. 6. Leaving them alone way too long. Remember earlier when I said there's one thing almost every owner does out of love that might be doing the most damage? This is it. There's this myth that cats don't care if you're gone, that they're independent, self-sufficient, and honestly couldn't care less whether you walk through that door or not. It's one of the biggest lies in pet culture, and it's hurting millions of cats every single day. A 2020 study published in Current Biology found that cats form genuine attachment bonds with their owners, similar to the bonds dogs and even human infants form with their caregivers. When researchers separated cats from their owners and then reunited them, the cats showed clear signs of secure or insecure attachment, depending on the quality of the relationship. This isn't opinion. This is science. So when you leave for 10-12 hours a day and come home to a cat that seems fine, they might not be fine at all. Cats who experience prolonged isolation can develop anxiety, depression, overgrooming, appetite changes, and even litter box problems. They just suffer in silence, because that's what cats do. They don't bark at the door. They don't destroy your shoes. They withdraw. And that silence tricks us into thinking everything's okay. Here's what makes this especially heartbreaking. Cats evolved as both hunters and prey, which means showing visible distress historically made them a target. So instead of loud, obvious signs of loneliness, you get subtle ones, sleeping in slightly different spots than usual. A small drop in appetite, grooming one patch of fur a little too often, sitting by the window a little longer than before. Easy to miss if you're not paying attention. The truth is, your cat waits for you. They notice when you're gone, and they feel it more than they'll ever show. You don't need to be home 24/7. But small things matter. Leave enrichment out before you go. Rotate toys. Create window perches so they can watch the world. Some owners even leave soft background noise on, a fan or low-talk radio, so the home doesn't feel completely silent and empty. And when you come home, don't just walk past them. Sit down. Be present. Give them 5 minutes of real connection. Because to your cat, you're not just their owner, you're their entire world, and they just want to know you're coming back. And here's a bonus one before we wrap up. Something that almost never makes these lists, because it's not so much something you're doing wrong as something you're missing entirely. Cats communicate constantly in small, quiet ways, and most owners simply don't notice, because we're trained to look for loud signals, a meow, a purr, a scratch at the door. But a huge amount of feline communication is silent. The slow blink is probably the most famous example, sometimes called a cat kiss. When your cat looks at you and slowly closes and opens their eyes, that's a genuine gesture of trust and affection. Because in the animal world, closing your eyes around something means you don't see it as a threat. If you never blink back, you're missing an entire channel of connection your cat is offering you every day. There are other quiet invitations too. A soft chirrup when you walk into a room. A light headbutt against your hand, called bunting, which actually deposits their scent on you as a way of marking you as theirs, or simply choosing to sit near you instead of across the room. These are all small bids for connection. When they're consistently ignored, not out of cruelty, just because we're busy or distracted, cats gradually make fewer of them. Not because they stopped caring, but because they learned the bid wouldn't be met. The fix here costs nothing. When your cat slow blinks at you, blink back. When they chirrup or headbutt, pause for a few seconds and acknowledge them. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but consistency in these tiny moments is often what separates a cat who feels securely bonded to their owner from one who slowly stops trying. So there you have it. 6 everyday habits plus 1 bonus that are quietly working against the relationship you're trying to build with your cat. None of these came from a place of cruelty. Every single one of them came from love, from convenience, from simply not knowing what was actually going on inside your cat's head. And that's exactly why this matters. You can't fix what you don't know is broken. The good news is, every single one of these is fixable, starting today. Lower your voice instead of raising it. Give them 10 minutes of real hunting-style play. Add a little wet food to their bowl. Stick to the safe zones when you pet them. Move that litter box somewhere they actually feel safe. And the next time you walk through the door after a long day, sit down for 5 real minutes before you do anything else. Small changes. Massive difference. To a creature who has no other voice than the one you're finally learning to listen to. If this video opened your eyes even a little, do your cat a favour and hit like, subscribe, and share it with another cat owner who needs to hear this too.